Good day, everybody. How you doing? This is your general here, and another impromptu discussion this morning. It's what time is it? It's like almost 3 o'clock. I got my coffee, and I felt like talking about something that is of very dire importance. And I was thinking about what name I would entitle this discussion, and I thought about entitling this "I Am Your 2023 Tilly Smith." That's right. I'm your 2023 Tilly Smith. Who is Tilly Smith? Well, if you keep listening, you'll find out who Tilly Smith was or is and how it relates to me, you, and me telling you what I'm about to tell you. And what I'm about to share with you is truly a cause for great alarm and for serious consideration because what I'm about to say personally affects your life as you know it and its existence or non-existence. On December 26, 2004, more than 230,000 people lost their lives in the deadliest tsunami in history. The lack of warning systems and proper education were definitely a factor for this great loss of life. And it caught people unaware. It caught them off guard. So will the coming of the Son of Man will be. Now, I added that in. That was like my little flavor to it as I juxtapose the two situations. And what I'm referring to is a phrase, and I took this phrase from a scripture at Matthew chapter 24, verse 39, where it says, "And they took no note until the flood came and swept them all away. So will the presence of the Son of Man will be." So that's why I threw that. So the presence of the Son of Man will be, because just like it happened in the recorded history, in that deadly recorded history of destruction in Noah's day, people just didn't take note and they were caught unawares. And that's what it says. And I juxtapose these two histories because there are riveting similarities. Namely, in Noah's day, many were killed, as I just mentioned, because they didn't take note. And what does it mean not to take note? Well, they didn't identify with the warning signs. As such was the case also in 2004 with that tsunami. People didn't take note of the warning signs. The loss of life was great in 2004 as it was great in Noah's time. And in both cases, people just didn't listen to the information. They avoided it, didn't know it, or weren't educated regarding what was about to happen. Now, this may be news to you. Many of you might not know this, but in the tsunami that happened in 2004, a lot of people, over 100 people, were saved. Why? Tilly Smith! There it is again. I said it. Tilly Smith. Tilly Smith was a 10-year-old girl that on the beach in Maui or somewhere, it was one of those places, I can't remember exactly which beach it was, but she was able to warn hundreds of people and they were able to save their lives because she had learned about the signs of a tsunami in her class, her geography class from her teacher. She saw the whirlpool-like waters forming up. She saw the water receding. She saw that the waves were unusually high. And because she saw these things, she then alerted those around her. She educated those around her. And they took action and left, and their lives were saved. Their lives were saved. And which takes me into my next segue as me saying, I am your 2023 Tilly Smith. But I tell you, there is yet another tsunami coming, but it's of a spiritual nature. It's going to be very destructive. It's going to take the lives of many, many people. And just for clarity, why did many people lose their lives? Because they didn't see the signs. They didn't take note. And this is a nice segue into what I want to talk with you about. You all know that I often talk about, let me see what type of time I got. Okay, good time. I talk about on my spots, on my page, the Higgs boson. And the Higgs boson is a fundamental particle associated with the Higgs field, which is a field that gives mass to other fundamental particles. I'm not going to go into all the underpinnings of the Higgs field because it's very complicated. It's stuff I don't even understand about it. And here's Stephen Hawking's. This is a book if you want to read up on particle physics and quantum mechanics and the onworkings of that. This is a good book to read. But anyway, what I was saying about the Higgs boson, again, it's a particle that gives things mass. And in 2012, scientists and physicists, they had this convention where they actually discovered the Higgs boson really exists. And they named it after a physicist named Peter Higgs, who hypothesized that this thing existed. But they didn't have the instruments or the know-how to predict this existence. And in 2012, they did by something that's called the Large Hadron Collider. The Large Hadron Collider. Let me pause this so I can go get a pen. Okay, we're back, and I have my trusted pen here. So they built this Large Hadron Collider that's 17 miles long in circumference. It borders a couple of states over in Geneva, and it's actually CERN, the European of Nuclear Research is what it's called. And CERN, they got all these scientists together, and they put this team together, and they built this thing. This is probably one of the most sophisticated pieces of instrument mankind has ever made. Again, 17 miles long in circumference, 300 feet under the ground, this Large Hadron Collider, and it's a circle like this, okay? And it takes what it does, it takes particles, it's a particle accelerator is what it is. And it takes particles and speeds them up to the speed of light almost, or faster. And they go around this thing. And then it has 4 or 5 points where those particles collide as they're going around, and they get data. They get data at those points. And this is what they do with this particle accelerator. Now, I'm going somewhere with this. The reason I'm bringing this up, and I'm equating it to education and finding out what these people are finding, because these scientists and physicists who don't believe in a higher power, in God, sarcastically call this Higgs boson the God particle because they believe it is what created the Big Bang. It's again, I don't want to get too deep in it. It's like it was a melting pot of a molecular soup. Conditions prior to the world being formed were very hostile. Electrical energy hit that soup, which is full of what? Protons and calcium and all the stuff that we're made of. And thus, that's how we got here, is what they hypothesize and say, these physicists and scientists who do not believe in a higher power. Okay, now, here's, let me throw this scripture in there. 2 Corinthians chapter 4, verse 18, and I'll quote it. It says, while we are keeping our eyes not on the things seen, but on the things unseen, for the things seen are temporary, but the things unseen is everlasting. We're talking about discoveries these scientists are finding with things that are unseen, that are invisible. okay, that are invisible to our human eye. And quite naturally, these are the things that mean something, that are everlasting. Brings to mind another quote. It says that, I'm running out of time. My point is that they found something. When they were smashing these things into each other, they found something. They found something spoke to them. Something said something when they were doing this, and it was to the point where they had put a signature onto paranormal activity. These people who don't believe in God, who don't believe in a higher power, had now put a signature on the paranormal activity. They said, okay, now we understand why y'all believe in paranormal activity and demons, ghosts, and goblins, and so forth. And that just about wraps up my time, people, because I'm doing like 11-minute spots on this. So with no further ado, this is your general reporting. Take care. Love you.